Hey, what is going on, guys? It's me, Kova, and welcome back to another edition of Transfer Gossip. A fair few defenders actually in this episode. I don't know why, but that's just the way it came about. So we're kicking this off anyway with a goalkeeper actually, and that is Joe Hart. Obviously, at Torino at the moment, his future's not at Manchester City, let's put it that way. However, Torino do want another year loan from Manchester City for Joe Hart. They've extended his loan by a year. However, Manchester City are adamant they want to sell to get more cash to obviously, reinvest in the team again. Next up, Mamadou Sakho, doing really well at Crystal Palace, having a great, I think he's played like 6 or 7 games for them. They've done really well in the time that he's been in. West Brom have entered the race for the French international centre-back. They've obviously seen his performances, they've seen his ability, and they are interested in trying to get him at West Brom. Everton manager Ronald Koeman is ready to go in for a move for Virgil van Dijk. He wants Van Dijk again. I think he did manage him at one point at Southampton. However, he's been told it may cost up to £55 million to get Van Dijk. I think he signed a new Southampton contract recently, so that is probably why. And I think he should be made captain as well, so that's probably why they don't want to sell him. I think, Southampton are a selling club, and they probably will end up selling him, but it will be for a huge amount, i.e. at least £50 million. Benjamin Mende is next up, obviously doing ridiculously well for Monaco in that fantastic Monaco team. There's a whole list of Premiership clubs of around like 3 interested. Those are Chelsea, Manchester City and Liverpool, and God knows whether there's like foreign clubs and maybe 1 or 2 other Prem clubs that we don't know about interested in Benjamin Mende, a very strong, powerful and quick left back. Looks like he's got it all. Next up is Martina, a bit of a strange one. This actually, again, Everton are getting linked to a move for Martina. Koeman set to raid the former team, Southampton, to try and get the right back. I think, Everton do need to strengthen up. I think Martina's a decent player, actually. From what I've seen him, he doesn't do too badly. Would be a good addition to Everton's team. I think, as to a price, God knows how much he is actually only the backup anyway. Next up is Glenn Johnson. This is an interesting one. Palace looks set to sign Glenn Johnson on a free transfer. I believe his Stoke contract is set to run out very, very soon, i.e. the summer. And, Crystal Palace are willing to give him a contract, which I think is quite surprising. I think Johnson's still a decent player, but I'd be surprised if he goes to Crystal Palace rather than maybe drop down to the Championship. Next up is a mad one. OXLADE Chamberlain may go to Liverpool. That is like loads of reports put on that. Liverpool are not put off by the £35 million price evaluation for OXLADE Chamberlain. Now let's just get this straight. Dybala cost Juventus less than that. That's an insane evaluation. For that money, no chance. At the end of the day, I think Dybala cost Juventus around £25 million. There's no way that you could pay £35 million for OXLADE Chamberlain when he hasn't even performed that well this season. I think as a player, yeah, you could probably sign him as a squad player and he'd do quite well, but I would not pay anywhere near that amount to get him, especially after some of his performances this season. Adnan Januzaj is next up. His Man U spell looks set to be ended very, very shortly. They're prepared to sell Januzaj after a very, very disappointing season. Obviously was on loan at Dortmund at one point, done horribly there. Then came back for a little bit and went to Sunderland on loan, and he still hasn't done that well either. And I think he was really, really overhyped, and that's why he kind of got so much of a reputation. I don't think he is that good at all. Marco van Ginkel is next up. Believe it or not, he is still a Chelsea player. He looks set to lead Chelsea either to PSV, where he's currently on loan, or Fenerbahce are also showing an interest in trying to get him to Turkey. Next up is Gerard Della. AC Milan have held talks to have Della on a permanent basis. A bit of a strange one. Apparently they've held talks with Barcelona, which doesn't really make sense because he is an Everton player permanently, although they do have the option to take him back, Barcelona. So it's interesting that they've held talks with him and not Everton. With not Everton. I'm surprised by that. But I think Della has done alright for AC Milan from what I've been reading, so it could be a permanent move on the cards to Italy. Next up is a huge, huge talent in Belgium. We will see him tonight in the Anderlecht Man U game, and that is Tielemans. He looks set to reject 3 Premiership clubs. I believe those to be Everton, I think Liverpool, and I also believe it might have been actually Manchester United as well. He's set to reject 3 Premiership clubs that were interested in him to sign for Monaco in France. Obviously, they're looking like they may end up losing Bakayoko, and they're trying to get Tielemans in instead. Next up is Jorge Mira. He is a centre-back for Sporting Gijon in Spain. Very, very good young talent. Chelsea watching the Sporting Gijon defender who has a £25 million release clause. And finally, we end on Ryan Shawcross. Rafael Benitez identified Shawcross as his #1 target should Newcastle secure that promotion that they look like they're likely to do. There you go, guys. Lots of defensive potential transfers. The main one being OXLADE Chamberlain, potentially to Liverpool. But Tielemans is also one to watch out for. He may still end up coming to the Prem, potentially. So, guys, if you did enjoy it, make sure you do drop a like. And if you are new around here, make sure you do subscribe. And I shall see you in the next one.